Hello, friends. Robert Bevan here, author of the Caverns and Creatures series of comedy, fantasy novels, and short stories. With me is Sam West, and today we're talking about the feat Drow High Magic.
Indeed. This is for all of you Drow out there that were like, what if I take the spells I already have and then got more of them, or them better, kind of, in a way, as a thing? Why not? This is a little feat. It's from Xanathar's Guide to Everything, right? Yeah, right.
I don't know.
I might be biting for time because never mind. It loaded. Great. It's you learn you have to be a drow to take this. You learn more of the magic type typical of dark elves. You learn the detect magic spell and cast it at will without expending a spell slot.
I like
Already, we're
that.
off to a banger start.
Yeah.
You learn levitate and dispel magic, each of which you can cast without expending a spell slot. You're going to cast those spells after a long rest. Charisma is your spellcasting modifier for these spells. So basically, you get a first level spell at will. Kind of. It's a ritual spell, so not really at will, but it's good. I like it a lot. And then you also have levitate, which I think is pretty solid, and it's just spell magic, which I think is excellent. Which leaves me going, okay, this feat's solid on some
All right.
characters, and less good on others. We'll get into that.
What do you need a spellcasting all right, charisma is your spellcasting ability for these spells. What does that matter for any of these spells?
Dispel magic makes
All right,
you.
dispel
I
magic.
think dispel magic will use your spellcasting ability modifier whenever it's doing the check for breaking higher
Right.
DC
Okay.
spells.
But
But the other
nothing for
two
detect
don't
magic
matter
or
at all.
levitate. Right. Okay. All
This
right, cleared that
basically
up.
it narrows it down to be more of like you want to be a charisma based character like a paladin or a sorcerer or a warlock as a drow to take these. And that's like a fine place to be. I also think there are plenty of drow characters that would be really happy taking this that are just like fighters with a +2 charisma. You don't need a really high charisma to take this. It still needs an option though. It's nice to have.
If it's only for if you just want detect magic and levitate, and you could care less about dispel magic, then yeah, it could be anything.
And I mean, like dispel magic will always cancel any third level spell or lower. It'll
Right.
always have that text regardless of your spell. The check that you make for this. Yeah, because it's just a check using your spellcasting ability, which is just a flat charisma check. So yeah, it only cares what your charisma score is. But yeah, I think I'm pretty. I think levitate isn't the best thing in the world. It's fine. It's neat. It's good. Detect magic is pretty good. Dispel magic, I think it's great. Here's my question: what specific character wants this on their sheet? Especially given that there are other options that are close alternatives that come with modifier bumps, considering that there are other options that give you a very specific spell of your choice. Like, on what drow do you put this? Like, what classes actually would take this over other important feats in their builds?
Well, I think this detect magic and dispel magic could be useful for anyone. Like if you need magic that if you got magic that needs detecting or dispelling, anybody's good for that. Levitate is the only one I would think. Yeah, this depends on what you want to do with it, like as a character or as a class. So I don't know.
Notably, we also didn't mention levitate isn't. I always think of levitate as you can only target yourself, but you can target other things with it, and that's whenever it has the spell safety C involved.
Okay, then it matters even less.
Well, there's some I think levitate's I like it on a large swath of different kinds of characters. I actually really like this on characters that don't necessarily have great utility outside of combat. Like, I think the martial characters get a lot more out of levitate than the casters do because they don't have other ways akin to this to get around as easily. So then you could use levitate as a cool little way to give yourself anti-gravity and bounce off walls and fly around and shift and throw yourself upward. Or, take the golem off of the ground and let it flail around aimlessly in the air as it floats off helplessly into the sky. That's a little cute utility case that you could go for it. And I like that a little bit more on characters that don't have better options than it. Because I often think Levitate's kind of spell gets outclassed by other magic spells that, wizards and sorcerers and stuff get. So I kind of
Or
like it more on those characters.
or on any like backline ranged character that's not using their concentration for something, they could levitate a different ranged character so that if they do get their concentration broken, whoever's up in the air doesn't go falling down.
True. But I mean, if your concentration gets
Yeah.
broken, whoever's in the
Well,
air is plummeting. That's
that's true.
definitely occurring.
All right, but all right, there was some that there was some kind of logic to that I had, but now it
It's gone.
escapes me. It eludes me.
I do like it, like if you are the ranger drow and you've got like Gloomstalker and all that fun stuff, and you just like want to sit 180 feet off the ground with your longbow and just pick things off, that's pretty cute. And you can do that, without like just fly above the things below you and just literally rain arrows from the sky. That's cute. And then again, if you get hit and fall into them, you're gonna get eaten alive. But that doesn't always happen. So that can be fine. So like drows on their own get a plus charisma bump and a plus dex bump because they're elves. And like elves are pretty solid. They get a really decent swath as far as like abilities go. I'm never upset to be an elf for any particular reason. Sunlight sensitivity definitely is rough for if you want to play a drow, you basically say, okay, we're adventuring at night because I want to function, and getting disadvantage on all your attack rolls is pretty debilitating. So yeah, make sure if you are doing the drow thing, you're either a spellcaster that can ignore the penalty because they're doing save-based stuff, or you're playing predominantly at night, which is what I think more often happens.
All right. Yeah. Levitate is a level 2 spell. Dispel Magic is level 3. Do we have any other feats that give us like level 2 and 3 spells?
Together, no.
All right. Well, I mean, or separately. Level 3
separately, we have a couple
big.
of twos. We have Fey Ancestry and Shadow Touch. Or sorry, Fey Touch and Shadow Touch give us invisibility and
all right.
Misty Step. But we don't, I don't. As far as third level spells go, I can't think of any.
Yeah. So what about this compared to the other ones? Fey Touch, Shadow Touch, Magic Initiate. Any of these feats that give us spells. How do you? I mean, you get to choose your spells, or at least partially with those. How do you feel that compares to this? Like higher level spells, but you don't get any flexibility in choosing them.
A lot of the time, I would rather have I would take Magic Initiate over these in the specific use case of I want Find Familiar on my sheet, or I want a first level spell that has a really long duration. Because none of these, like Detect Magic at Will is kind of a long duration effect, but then it's kind of close to Ritual Caster. And then if you compare this to Ritual Caster, you're saying, okay, I get all ritual spell casting, or I get Levitate and Dispel Magic once per long rest. And like a second level and third level slot for decent spells is fine. I think I probably take this over Ritual Caster. So we got one that I think is, I like Ritual Caster a lot. I take it a lot. I think this is probably slightly better than it. Just because a lot, in specifically the lowest tiers, and specifically tiers where like you're happy and want a little bit more juice on your sheet, you're happy with an extra second and third level spell slot, which is what the Levitate and Dispel Magic kind of are. If I want a new feature, my Magic Initiate I think is way better, because familiars are a ubiquitous force in the world that is now just perpetually helping you and not these single instance abilities.
Yeah.
But I think most of the first level spells, I'll take this over those most of the time. There are other, like, if we take like Strixhaven, the Strixhaven Initiate or whatever the Strixhaven one that gives you 2 known spells, I think those are a little bit better for the spellcasters that want to build into something. Like if you're a bard and want shield, or if you're a cleric and want shield, that's going to be the classic, like the good reaction spells that you want to spend lots of spell slots on are going to make them slightly better on those sheets than this spell would, or this feat would be. Which I think sort of like narrows down to say, if you're a full caster, you probably want other spell options than this, because they can do other things with them in some interesting ways. I think if you're a non-full caster, this is a much larger gain of resources, because you're getting a second and third level slot as opposed to the first level slots the other spells are giving you if you don't have other ways to weaponize those kinds of spell effects.
Yeah.
If we look at the last two, though, that we haven't touched on, Fey Touch and Shadow Touch, I do think those modifiers are a huge deal. Like getting a +1 to 2 mods and a really good second level slot and a first level slot of a specific choice, like those are still, I think, you take those over this the majority of the time. And I love Dispel Magic, but it's not something that you're going to be using every single encounter, every single long rest. And for that reason, I'm a little bit more like, I would much rather have 2 spells I know I'm using all the time over 2 spells that are good, but aren't like ubiquitous. I'm never going to have a problem finding a time to cast Misty Step. I'm never going to have a hard time finding a spot to cast Invisibility. I am going to struggle sometimes to make this or to make Levitate matter. I am going to have some times where Dispel Magic is like, oh, this just doesn't do anything for the majority of this adventure. It'll be good in a lot of cases. It'll be like a really important effect to get rid of a Crown of Madness or a hold monster or something, or a hold person or something, right? But it's not. I would much rather have those 2 known excellent quantities on top of a bonus mod, which is such a huge deal, because especially on characters that are like or that are martial, that really can't forgo, like a paladin can't forgo getting a plus charisma mod whenever they want their aura devotion to be really, really good. So or of protection, I mean, you really want those modifiers, and this doesn't give you that.
I think you'll be able to reliably find ways to use Levitate. more often.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it
no,
depends on
I'm
archetype.
still
But
probably taking these other ones over
yeah,
this.
I think I agree. If you really like Dispel Magic, I think this is a fine way to get it. If you want ways to interact with magic, like let's say you're playing that one Paladin Oath that loves being anti-magic, this seems like a really good fit for that kind of archetype, right? Like I can envision a Drow Arcane Protector whose whole deal is counterspell, dispel magic, locking things down, and uses Levitate to either put themselves up on this, like, you know, like fly and fight the dragon in the air, and then use their high AC to maintain that concentration, or like sticks other things up in the air to deal with later, and then goes and charges down their big bats. I could see that kind of archetype coming together. But that's fairly niche. I don't think it's a lot of Drow. I think a lot of Drow are going to be the sorcerers, warlocks, the wizards. They're not going to really want much to do with just 2 extra spell slots for fine spells, but not nearly as exciting options as you get elsewhere.
Yeah, I value the flexibility. All right, Drow High Magic. Is this worth being a Drow for?
No. You want to be a Drow for another reason, and then take Drow High Magic if it also fits under your sheet.
Yeah.
So like, I don't foresee builds existing that go, oh, we have to be a Drow for this to get a little bit better because it gets Drow High Magic. This is just kind of like a cute little bucket of extra features that are useful for an average adventurer and will be better on characters that lack a lot of good utility options, which is going to be like your rogues, your rangers, your fighters, your monks. They're going to find a bit more juice out of high magic. A Drow monk seems like a pretty cute option with Levitate. I love the idea of, like, you know, flying around corridors and bouncing up around the walls. That sounds sweet. But that's also not like by any means an optimized build. That's very much I want to play a Drow and I want that Drow to be a monk. And oh hey, look, I fell into this beautiful little utility thing that is fine on my sheet. And that's where I think this gets a 3. It's like, oh yeah, this is gonna be fine on the characters that want it, and it's not gonna be harming many people, and it's gonna give you a decent bucket of utility. But if we're looking anywhere past like just generally decent stuff, this isn't going on any sheet for a particularly good reason. This isn't contributing to a build's direction mainly.
Yeah, 3 sounds about right. Don't love it, don't hate it. Yeah, of all the feats that could give you a 3rd level spell, you get Dispel Magic, which is fine, but I don't know, not something I'm crazy excited over.
It does help it that in the super upper tiers, Dispel Magic can hit anything. It can hit 8th and 9th level spells. And if you roll well or have a way to get advantage on that ability check, you're going to have a much better time interfacing, especially as like a barbarian or as any of the marshals as a rogue, with the big splashy Feeble Minds, with the big splashy like, oh, we need to get rid of this effect. We need to get rid of, I guess Feeble Mind's a bad example. We need to get rid of this effect. We need to get rid of it right now. We need a shot at it. And the rogue goes, I have got Drow High Magic. Dispel Magic and pray for some good results.
All right. Well, anything else to say?
It's fine.
Fine. Yes. All right. That was Drow High Magic. Thank you, Sam, and thank you everyone for joining us. Let us know what you think down in the comments. Like and subscribe and all that, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, informative, or entertaining, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button below. You needn't smash it. A gentle tap will suffice. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to the channel. And make sure you check out the links in the description, where you'll find my Caverns Creatures series of comedy fantasy novels, Sam's full review of the spell, and other fun things.